It's -12 outside. And somebody thought he wanted to go out on the catio. And now he's trying to figure out how to get back in. Too cold for ya? That's what I thought. Rory's turn. He will literally be out there for less than a minute. Just wait and see. Oh, 2 minutes. He lasted a whole 2 minutes. I think they like the winter just as much as I do. Time for breakfast. Okay, today's the day where I'm actually going to hook up the spare battery to the generator, because I've mentioned before that I'm having a problem with the generator battery there holding a charge. So the generator itself hasn't been starting with the electric start because the battery just doesn't have enough juice. So I'm going to hook the generator up to this big 12 volt battery and see how that does. My generator actually just shut off last night. I didn't know why. I thought either it ran out of gas or it ran out of oil, and I checked the oil today and sure enough it was really low. So the good thing about these newer generators, I guess, is that if they're low in oil, they'll shut themselves off or they just won't start. So that's not a bad thing. Anyway, went ahead and put some oil in and it started right away, so pretty sure that was the problem. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hook this thing up. Okay, so I've got this all hooked up to the 12 volt battery, but I'm a little concerned with what I've done. So I think my main concern here is that the battery cables, the 12 volt battery cables, are a much thicker gauge than these cables here that were going to the original battery. Maybe that's not a problem at all, I have no idea, but I have like these smaller cables hooked to these big thick cables. I don't know if that's a problem. I'm hoping that it isn't, because I'm about to try to fire this thing up and I hope that it doesn't blow up or that I don't have issues. But if somebody knows if it's a problem to have thicker cables here attached to smaller cables, please let me know, because I have no idea. I know that it's hooked up because I've already tested that. It wouldn't light up if it wasn't hooked up properly. So yeah, I'm about to hit the remote on this thing and see if it's going to fire up, but I'm going to stand back just in case. Okay, so I'm a ways away. Got the remote here. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all. That's a little concerning. Do you hear that? I am so confused about this generator. First thing this morning after it sat not running all night, I hit the remote, the button on the remote, and it fired up right away. But it says, oh, you can't see it now. It says 0 amps, which normally before, when it said 0 amps, it had trouble starting. I'm so confused. Sorry about that. My camera battery died yesterday at the most inconvenient time. Right when I was trying to start this thing up. But what you guys didn't see was that it started up after the second attempt. And on the display here, it shows how many amps. And it should be, obviously it should be above 0 amps. So last night I had this thing running until it got to about 1.0 amps. And I shut it off. And when I turned it back on again, it started back at 0 amps. So the whole thing is really confusing to me. Yeah, I don't really understand it. I don't know what's happening. Right now, what's charging the amps is this thing here, which I never had to plug in at all before when I didn't have problems with my battery. Anyway, you can see I put this one solar panel here and clipped it onto the battery that I just hooked up to the generator, just to make sure I'm giving it some juice. But I think that as long as the generator's running, it's keeping the battery charged, where I have plug plugged into the generator. I believe that's how it works. Okay, so I just tested the generator battery now that it's not plugged up to the generator at all, and I got a reading of 12.07, so the battery is good. So it has to be something else. It's just really confusing because I had trouble, like I said, with that battery starting the generator with the remote or the electric start at all after it's been setting for a bit. Whereas before it would fire up right away, and it always does say 0 amps when you first start it up until it starts charging. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really confused about the whole thing. But then this morning, now that that 12 volt, the bigger battery is hooked up to it, it started up right away. But as you've seen in the other clip, it took 2 different tries. Or sorry, it started up on the second try. I'm just not understanding what's happening. Somebody did leave me a comment suggesting what it might be, and I looked everywhere for that comment and I can't find it now. So if anybody has any ideas of what the problem could be, please let me know. But I'm gonna keep just testing this out with that bigger 12 volt battery and see if it's going to start up on the first time every try now. If that does the trick, that's great. I'll never have to mess with it. I'll never have to come pull the cord, basically. I'll just hit the remote and it'll fire up. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just really confusing. I'm not sure what's going on. See? Now this time it didn't start right away. So now let's see if it starts up on the second attempt. That's just really confusing because this morning, first thing, it started up. And there we go. It started up on the second attempt. I don't know. I'm really confused. If anybody has any ideas of what's going on, like I said, please let me know. Right, buddy? You don't want to go out on the patio with the loud generator running. Give me the cold shoulder. Alright, a couple of hours later, let's try this one last time. Wow. Started up right away again.